To create a conditional column, we need to go to the Add Column tab and select Conditional Column. The first option we can add is to choose the name we would like to provide for the conditional column. Then we can choose the name of the column for which we would like to apply the condition, how we would like to apply the condition, what value should be met in order for that condition to be satisfied, and what value to be returned. That will become much clearer when we take an example. So let's hit cancel for now and take this example. So over here we are using the student scores table, and we have a column of subjects. So the subjects we have are math, English, history, and science. So assuming that we would like to create a column that shows whether the subject provided is a scientific subject or not. So in other words, we would like to create a column to refer to scientific subjects, which are science and math, as scientific subjects, and refer to non-scientific subjects, which are English and history, as non-scientific subjects. To create such a column, we need to go to the Add Column tab and select Conditional Column. On the column name, we can choose any name we like. So for example, let's call this column Scientific or Not Scientific. Then we need to choose the column for which we would like to apply the condition. That would be the subject column. Then we need to choose the operator which we would use to evaluate this condition. The available operators change based on the type of the column. So if we are dealing with the textual column, as we are right now, it would give us the textual operators, which are equals, do not equal, begins with, and so on and so forth. To get better understanding of what each of these operators do, please revise the video that explains how to add textual columns. For now, we will just use the equals operator. Then we will add the value for which we would like the condition to be satisfied. So let's say math. So if the subjects column, or if the subject column says or equals math, I would like to have that new column I'm creating to return the value scientific. Then from here, we can add another clause or another condition that we would like to check in our conditional column. So again, we will choose the subject column to evaluate this condition. And we will say if that subject column equals English, we will return not scientific. And we can add as many clauses as we like. But for now, let us click on these ellipses and delete that step or that condition and hit OK. You will see that the condition has been evaluated. So if I move this column a little bit to the left so that you can easily notice the effect of that conditional column, you'd see that it has already returned scientific whenever the subject column says math, and returned not scientific when the subject column was showing English. But for the other subjects, it returned nothing because none of the conditions applied were met. So to edit that conditional column logic, we need to go here to the step where we applied that condition and double click that step here and add more subjects. So again, we will say if subject equals and say science, it would return scientific. Then we hit OK. So if we move that column again over here, you will see now that whenever it says science, it would return scientific, and additionally the previous conditions or the previous rules we applied before are still working, as it is returning scientific when the subject column is showing, when the subject column shows math, and also returns not scientific when the subject column shows English. But it seems like we missed to add a condition for history. So if we go back here and double click that step, we can add another clause for history. So we can say subject equals, if the subject is equal to history, it should return not scientific, and hit OK. Then you'd see that we have a value for each subject, or a category for each subject, that says either scientific or not scientific. Going back here, we could make this formula a little bit easier if we simply delete the rule for English and the rule for history, and use this box over here that would return a value in case none of the above conditions are met. This value would be returned. So as we already know which subjects are scientific, we can simply ask Power BI to return the word not scientific if the subject value is neither math nor science. Then we could hit OK, and it would give us exactly the same result. It is suggested though to keep the else function here to be used for error checking. By providing the value 999 and hitting OK, it would be easy for you to notice if you have missed any specific condition that you should have applied. So for example, if I accidentally missed to add a condition for history and English and add 999 here, just to remind me in case I forget any of the conditions I should have applied, and hit OK, it would return that value here, and I can simply click on this drop down to see if there are any values equal to 999 and figure out why I'm having problems with these rows. Before we end this video, I'd like to show you how you can create a conditional column based on a numerical variable or a numerical column. So let me hit cancel and delete these steps I created earlier. So on our next example, we will create a column that would show either passed or failed based on the actual score we have here. So if the student's score is above 70, we would return passed, and if it's below 70, it would return failed. To create the conditional column, again, we need to go to the Add Column tab and select Conditional Column. The first thing we need to do is to define the name for that column. So let's call it passed or failed. Then we need to select the column name for which we will evaluate the condition. That would be the actual score column. Next, we need to choose the operator. As I mentioned earlier, the operator is dependent upon the type of the column we are using for evaluating the condition. As we are using a numerical column, you would see that we have operators that are relevant to numerical columns. To know more about what each of these operators do, please revise the video that shows you how to add a numerical column in the query editor. For now, we will choose is greater than and write down the number 70. So if it is greater than 70, if the actual score is greater than 70, it should return passed. And if actual score is less than or equal to 70, it would return failed. And finally hit OK. So the column was added, and as you can see, whenever the actual score is over 70, it would return passed, and whenever it is less than or equal to 70, it would return failed. Finally, I would like to show you that we can also add a conditional column that would return the value of a column, not necessarily the value of a text. So, say for example, that we would like to return the score of students who have passed their exams and return just failed if the student did not pass the exam, if the student failed the exam. To create such a column, we need to go to Conditional Column. So we will call this column Published Score. And we will say if the column that says passed or failed equals passed, we will return the actual score column. And if the column that says passed or failed equals failed, we will return failed and hit OK. Then it would return the score if the student passed the exam and return only failed if the student did not pass that exam. And that's all we need to know about conditional columns. See you in the next video. If you like this type of content, subscribe to our channel, hit like, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. And by the way, we also offer Power BI consulting and training services at www.powerbimaster.com. See you in the next video.